what I mean when I say trust or credibility is the new currency is I've kind of looked at businesses. I've kind of stepped back and looked at how business and the economy has evolved over the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. And it's kind of become my view that the most important asset, or one of the top assets that a company has, is the trust that it has, or the relationship it has with its stakeholders. Now, I'm sure lots of PRs have said that. It sounds like I'm selling our own wares, but I also think it's true. And this is the way I kind of contextualize it. If you went back 100 years, generally, the business that fared the best or did the best was the business that had the product with the most features or the most relevant features. And it was difficult to create a new product, as it is today, but it was even more difficult back then because you had to actually manufacture it. And then slowly over time, when we went through the Industrial Revolution, it became easier to manufacture or create products. And products started to feel very similar. If there's one product A and product B from different competing companies, they generally had the same features. And if they didn't, company B would generate a new product that had the same features as company A to satisfy the customers and consumers. So back in the 50s or 60s, very roughly, brands started becoming very important. Companies would differentiate themselves in the market with stronger, more compelling brands. And this is where kind of, the Mad Men advertising age came from. In the kind of 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe a little bit before that as well, and a little bit after that. But companies would go heavy on their brands. Now, we've heard a lot about AI over the last couple of months. One of the things that I think has been ignored or not kind of discussed enough is how that has, in some senses, lowered the barrier to entries on creating brands. So previously we went through this period of time where companies would differentiate themselves on features, became easier to develop features, so they focused on brand. Now it's easier than ever before to go to ChatGPT or another AI provider and create a brand, a professional, good-looking brand quite quickly. Now, of course, I think brand agencies still add a huge amount of value. They can do stuff that ChatGPT can't, and AI can't. But I do think it has lowered the barriers to entry in brand. So I stepped back and said, what is the real differentiator these days for companies? If it's no longer features or product, if it's no longer brand, what do they still have left? They have their relationships with their customers. The biggest thing that Coca-Cola has today, of course it has a great product as well, is the fact that there are millions or tens of millions, hundreds of millions or billions of fans of that company that have an established relationship with it. You might develop a better product. It's unlikely you're going to win over all those customers because they would have a relationship with the brand. You could even have a really fun, funky, new Coca-Cola brand. Again, you might win over some, but you'll never surmount the deep relationship that that company has with its customer base. So it all boils down to this. The most important thing that a company has in the modern economy is the trust and relationships that it has with its stakeholders, whether it's customers, team, employees, investors, regulators. And that, I think, is one of the kind of the biggest changes that we've kind of experienced over the last 5 to 10 years.